Today, we're bringing you yet another thought leader, very unique individual in Austin, Texas. She, too, survived the 2021 winter vortex that we all just waded through. Cara Hayward, Jeffrey Ward, Turnkey Lender, Currency Cloud. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Jeffrey. It's so nice to be on the LinkedIn Live with Turnkey Lender. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure and an honor. We love to go out and find unique individuals, thought leaders in the space, and ask some really cool questions, get a feel for your personality and what you do and the company that you represent. So it's an honor and a privilege.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again.
So Currency Cloud, tell me about it. What do you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a cross-border FinTech. So our job is really to help move money around the world and remove a lot of the barriers that come with sort of the traditional ways of doing so. And so we help in the disbursement, the management, the FX, and we've built out sort of this big global banking infrastructure that we've tied into a nice, I say a pretty little bow. So all accessible via API. So making it really automated for our customers. And so that's what we do. And my role there is I'm Director of Strategic Partnerships for North America. So helping establish ourselves within the ecosystem of FinTech in North America.
So it looks like you guys have built an extensive library of APIs to be able to touch on those four things you mentioned, right? How's that playing out for you guys?
Yeah, it's really been amazing. So we're about 10 years old. We were founded in London, and we are now a global company. So we have a presence in North America, obviously. We're also expanding to Asia. So we service customers all over the world. In terms of customers, we're about, I think we're almost about 500 customers now, and we're in our Series E of funding. So it's been a really fun ride. I've been there about 2 years, and it's amazing how much things change in even just 2 years at a FinTech company.
Oh yeah, night and day. And then, we had this wonderful pandemic that showed up and made everybody think digital transformation is now.
Exactly. I mean, we felt like, at first we weren't sure, right? Because, we are a cross-border company, and when people aren't traveling as much, that was a bit of a concern at the forefront. And yes, some of our customers were affected, and we supported them through that. But what we found were all sorts of new customers that had been putting off that digital transformation in those projects around automating payments and becoming more digital. And so that's actually been fantastic for us. So we've been growing more than ever during the pandemic, which we feel very, very lucky for.
Yeah. Interesting. So the value proposition of your technology, is it such that it kind of levels that playing field of the different currencies, of the different countries? What exactly is your value proposition, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the cross-border space, although in North America, it's interesting because dollar is still kind of king here in North America. But I would say that cross-border is still something people kind of know about and know that it's important. But I think the value prop and what we're solving to change is making it more cost-effective and really less painful, because I think today everything's extremely manual, it's extremely opaque in terms of the cost structures and transparency. I also think that especially in the new FinTech space, you have a lot of brands, what we call them like neobanks or challenger banks or other types of brands coming out that want to really own the product and own the relationship with their customers. And a lot of the cross-border options out there today don't really allow for that. You sort of have to give your customers over to another company that then provides the cross-border services. We want to be the biggest cross-border company you've never heard of because we're completely behind the scenes and powering our customers' brands.
So you're responsible for selling B2B. Yep. But in actuality, you're affecting B2C.
Yep. Or B2B2B, right? We always say we're B2B to X. And so we're always B2B in terms of our customers. But at the end of the day, our product is reaching those end customers, whether they be consumers, small businesses, or even corporates.
Interesting. And so your title is Director of Strategic Partnerships for the U.S. What does a day in the life look like for you? I know you do some podcasts, but, probably some negotiations too. What all do you do?
Well, I do it all. No, I'm just kidding. Every day is very different, and it's really driven by what are our customers' needs. And so because cross-border is usually a small piece of what a fintech in North America needs, we are oftentimes working in lockstep with a whole bunch of other infrastructure providers that are in the ecosystem. And so it's really important that our customer, when they're facing their end customers, that all of the folks that are working behind the scenes to power their brand are working together, and that, both from a operational perspective, a legal and compliance perspective, as we know, the compliance piece is huge, right? But also in terms of, cost structure as well. And so that's my job, is to go out and establish relationships with other infrastructure players in the ecosystem to make sure that we have that whole product offering when we are servicing our clients.
Mm-hmm. Almost like, if you will, like banking as a service, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. We're like, you can think of us almost as a banking as a service, but we only provide that one small piece. So we work with other banking as a service platforms, other sponsored banks, or new age cores, that sort of thing, and kind of work to create these relationships that we can, co-service these customers.
Mm-hmm. So have you found that your ideal partner is a traditional lending institution that has clients that are cross borders, or neobanks or challenger banks? Who is kind of your ideal client base today?
So that's a great question. It is across the board. We found opportunity in all of those areas. So whether it's we call them either digital natives or digital transformers. So natives would be the neobanks, some of the new age lend techs, right, or wealth techs that are out there, who started probably recently, right? They're probably still in their Series A to C, and they have some sort of cross-border need. We also work with transformers, traditional institutions like banks or credit unions, or perhaps traditional FX brokers that are looking to become more digital. So we work in both spaces, and both customers are extremely important to us. And we just really adjust our approach depending on, which area we're going after. And so I have partners in both spaces, and so hence why my days they're a little hectic, but a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you were touching on something there. I would argue that your approach is much different from the traditional banks versus the other type of banks that you change, or you chase and you challenge. So I would say that your sales strategy is probably very, very different. Your messaging is very different by institution that you are looking to partner with.
Exactly, that's right. And we really try to get to the bottom of what are our customers trying to solve for their end customers. Because again, we aren't selling to that consumer. We don't hear their voice and what they're actually looking for. We have to really understand that from our partner who is servicing them. And so we do our best to make sure that we're really getting to the bottom of what does that customer experience need to be, and then supporting our partner in creating that.
Fantastic. So I see that you've been a financial services leader for a while, being at CBank, and also having a career and doing an internship with some large financial institutions. What brought you to Currency Cloud?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that the FinTech space in North America is just absolutely fascinating to me. And I think that we are in this time period where things are just changing so fast. And I just think when we look back 5 years from now, we're going to say, wow, that was fun. So what I wanted to do was actually take my experience from the world of traditional retail banking with CBank and having the relationships with a lot of the traditional community banks and credit unions, take some of my background and knowledge from, I did work on Wall Street for a time, and so I kind of understood the FX markets a little bit and had to deal with a little bit with international payments and that sort of thing. And then work for a company that was a startup, right? But sort of a later stage startup ramping, and really providing that deep technology and that infrastructure layer. And then so I think that the fact that Currency Cloud provided a little bit of that, where it looped my two backgrounds together and was in that space of providing that financial technology, was super attractive. And obviously, being in the partnerships role, that's something that I've done in my past and I've always really enjoyed, because I think that 2 + 2 is better when there's partnerships involved, because it equals 6, instead of 4. And so there's a lot we can do together in the partnership world.
That's very cool. Cool. So going granular for just a second, right?
Yeah.
If I was a before and after, right? what my currency or my FX services look like in an institution without Currency Cloud, and what would it look like after a relationship with Currency Cloud?
Sure. It sort of just depends. There are other fintech providers out there that are in our space that are providing some automation. But I think most of our customers come to us if they already have a solution, because a lot even don't. They're just getting into it for the first time. But if they have a solution, normally it's with maybe a more traditional provider where they're sort of having to hand over the customer relationship. So the customer data, all the relationship and the experience and the service. And so that's not always the best because you kind of lose that piece of your brand. The second part is that you have to usually build a huge team of people to support that business, especially as you scale. Because it's a traditionally not very automated business, and because of the complexities behind compliance and all these different things, oftentimes we'll see folks trying to, hire just to keep up, and then it's really, really hard to make that business profitable because the costs keep increasing as the volumes go up. And then so when you Currency Cloud, what we really try to do is create scalability for you. And so you get to continue to own your customer relationship when working with us. And then second, it's that you put this infrastructure and this technology in place today. We do all the heavy lifting and hard work behind the scenes when it comes to compliance and all the operations and that sort of thing. And so that you can actually scale that business and price it in a way you can attract customers and actually make it profitable versus it being sort of just a check the box type of product that you may have had in the past.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So number one, you're really focusing on your customer experience, right? Which all the FIs are extremely customer centric. So I like that. And number two, what you're giving them the ability to do is instead of being caught in the details and the minutia, letting them be able to really focus on a strategy to grow that business, right? Exactly. I like that. That's very cool.
Yeah, we try to be the experts for them so they don't have to go learn, each country's payment systems and all that kind of stuff. We wrap it all into a pretty bow for them.
Yep. We try to do that at Turnkey Lender as well, is really be the backbone and the infrastructure for their lending operations, and then giving the clients the ability to think about different strategies to acquire clients, different strategies to convert those clients, different strategies to communicate with those clients for future business. So, not having to worry about the turning the lights on and off, but rather, how am I going to walk over there to turn the lights on?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly right. We're so similar in our business models from that perspective. It's like, we can sort of rinse and repeat what we do, so you can focus as a brand on the more important things, which is acquiring clients, servicing clients, and being that client-facing brand that can help drive profitability and revenue.
Fantastic. Very good. Is there anything that you really love about your job today that you would like to share?
I love the people I work with, honestly. I mean, I have to say, when you're working hard and running fast, I have to say that the culture at Currency Cloud, and that's something I forgot to mention when you asked me what attracted me to the company as well, is that the culture has been amazing. And I think the other thing that I really love is that they've really supported my professional growth as well. Like I know Turnkey and Currency Cloud are both members of the Association for Financial Technology, which I'm on the board of, and I know Turnkey's a relatively new member, and we're so excited to have you. These types of the support of these types of career building opportunities that also I think come back and help the business as well is really what I love about my job, and so I'm very thankful that they support that. So yeah.
I like that. So really creating an infrastructure, almost an ecosystem, if you will, that continues to support and feed itself. I like that.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Very cool. Is there any advice, as your experience in the financial sector, is there any advice that you would want to give anybody wanting to go into the financial sector or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I think I always like to say overturn every stone, right? There's so much complexity and so many layers to this business that be curious and always trying to be learning every single day. And especially because right when you think you learned something and got something down, it's changing. So And I think, the other thing is just network. And I think this is what I love about this industry is it is a small industry when you really think about it. You run into a lot of the same people. So, network with folks that you meet at, whether it's, virtual conferences these days, hopefully someday in person. And I think that's a great way to get in and get yourself established.
Yep. So you had mentioned that you had done some time on Wall Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the energy level like there versus the energy level of Austin, Texas? And that may not even be a fair question.
No, it's a great question. It's very different. Austin, what I love about Austin is it's full of smart, motivated people, but we're not like on too much, I think of Wall Street as like you've had way too many cold brews and you're always like, whereas Austin, you have the same caliber of interesting and awesome people, but you just take a little bit of a breath, Matthew McConaughey style, as I like to say.
I shouldn't have asked the question. We don't need any more people moving here to Austin.
That's actually true. I have to that's right. No, it's terrible here. Don't move here. No.
Exactly. No, it's been amazing to watch the infrastructure and the amount of companies that we've had come to Austin. So we're truly blessed for that. But there are days where I find myself going, really? Traffic was not like this before. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I have to say that's one thing, right? We've forgotten about that during COVID because we've all mostly been working from home, and I'm a little bit nervous. I'm luckily remote all the time, but my husband commutes, and I'm like, oh man, when this goes back to normal, we're going to forget what it's like.
Exactly. Well, Caras, thank you so much for your time today. It's an honor and it's a privilege. If any of our clients or any of our attendees, our guests today have any questions for Cara, please reach out. Also, if you have any questions or clients for Turnkey Lender, please reach out. We're always accepting new clients.
As always, we love to partner with folks like Turnkey, and thanks, Jeffrey, so much for having me on today. This has been an honor and pleasure from my side as well.
Always. We'll have you on again in a year. When we get back to normal, we can talk about the commute your husband has to do.
Perfect. Sounds good.